Is there a countdown?
Well, it's already 10:30.
Oh. So we are live.
Actually, yes, we are live right now.
All right, and we've got.
Okay.
It's going to be interesting.
Okay.
So Jason is out today, so he's not going to be with us. But Megan is sitting in, so she's going to take a bigger part in today's little interview. We're going to have a special guest today. We're going to have Greg Marchand, who is our Safety and Compliance Director, and keeps us doing all the right things right.
Okay.
So we're going to get into some questions with him. First, we're going to ask and answer a couple questions from our last live. And I think there was talk about your weekend. Not sure I was supposed to read that part. But we had, after our live last week, which went really, really well, we spent some time with John Schneider, which was great. He was very generous with his time, signed tons and tons of autographs. And he does spend a lot of time with all the folks in the Louisiana community and the space and areas that they're in. After storms, during storms, just doing things that he can to support their community. And now he and his wife are getting into dirt track racing, which is very cool. So we spent time with them, and then we went down to Florida, and we had some time with a company called Good Greek that helped us set up a tailgate for our the trailer that we use for chasing and kind of supporting folks in storm alleys. So we have a trailer that we use, and our tech support team will go out and support our retail vendors like Costco and Lowe's. And so we went out and used that trailer and went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, and they set it up for us to kind of be out there and just support the community. And Mike's weather page, who is one of our influencers, jumped in with us and spent some time, he and his team, just kind of engaging with fans. And he threw out a bunch of little, I don't know if they're called reels or YouTubes or some little videos and Instagrams and kind of sharing the event. And I think Jason threw out some. But that was a really great event. It went really well. And Mike is just an amazing supporter. I was watching his show this morning. He's doing lives now on Mondays and Fridays. And then if weather dictates, he'll come on more. As you get into season, starting in March, April through October, November, he's on every day, and sometimes including weekends. But right now he's Mondays and Fridays. But some of the questions that we had are recommended cooldown period for refueling. That's a great question. I'm going to refer that to Greg. It feels like a lot of the feedback we get from customers in storms is these people will run their generators almost continuously. And that's not a great idea. We wouldn't recommend it. I think somewhere in our manual is specific time, and I want to say it's 30 minutes, but I'm going to revisit this once we pull Greg Marchand on. Because I'm not positive about that number. I should know it, and I don't. How many watts over anticipated load allow for spikes? So there's actually a formula, and you can find it on our website, how to buy a generator, and it kind of walks you through. You kind of look at the appliances that you want to run, whether you're out of power, you're going camping, it's a tailgating event. So you add up the watts, the run watts of all your appliances, and then the highest start watt of the appliances you're getting ready to add. You add all those together, and you need to be able to cover that in your starting or peak watts. And then you also want to base it down, because as your appliances kind of base down and level out, they won't be pulling the same amount of watts throughout the period. So if you're, we should actually, on one of these shows, we could actually pull up our calculator and run through it, where you take a blender and an AC unit and a heater, take the run watts, the highest start watts, and then add those up, and it'll tell you what generator kind of class you need to buy. Something between, probably a 6,000 and a 8,000, depending on the amp pool.
Great. I think people could really see what they're using it for.
Yes.
Walk them through how to do it.
Yeah. But we actually have a great calculator. It's up in stores and Lowe's. I think it's on the Costco website as well. But we'll on one of our next shows, we'll actually pull that calculator up and walk through it, so folks can get a little bit. Yeah, that's a lot better.
We can visually show them how to do it.
Yes, much better than my talking through it.
No, I think you did a great job.
Hey, do you have the ability to pull up that picture of that store?
Greg's on with you too right now.
Oh, hi, Greg.
Hey,
do you have
how
the
guys
ability to
doing?
pull up that
Thanks for
little
having
picture of
me.
that store, or no?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
Yeah.
Can you pop that up on the screen real quick? Before we start with Greg, I want to show that. There's a Chase Elliott. He's a store manager in Paris, Tennessee. And he sent out, I don't know if it's Instagram or Facebook, but when in the Midwest last week, and then again this week in Michigan and Wisconsin, where Greg lives, and Minnesota, those states, and then last week it was Kentucky, Tennessee, got hit extremely hard. And so our thoughts and prayers to all the folks that went through those tornadoes and the big winds this week with the derecho.
Absolutely.
But a lot of our partner stores and vendor partners were out there aggressively trying to get product into the area to help those folks. And Chase Elliott sent out a picture because his crew came in late at night to receive 6 emergency trucks. And it's generators, Firman generators, gas tanks, water, just emergency supplies, power cords, all the things that you need to rebuild or get through these kind of periods. And so that was really cool. So we'll pop that up when we get a chance.
Yep, it's on there.
Oh, it's up?
Yeah,
Oh, you can see
it's
it?
up there right
I've
now.
put up
Okay.
since you've been talking, so.
Okay. So anyways, Chase Elliott and your team at Lowe's store 1789, which I'm sure they don't even know we're doing this. But we're going to send them a bunch of pizza and some gear so that we can just be thankful that they're out there responding to the community and taking care of the people that need help.
Yeah, thanks
So
for
that's really
sharing
cool.
it. Totally. We love to see things like that, and we really want to make sure we're getting call-outs. We got a couple other people that we're going to do some call-outs for, too, at our next live that are just continuously helping with all of these different things that are going on and giving all the efforts that they have. So however we can partner and help with that, we're going to shed some light on it so that way you guys can know about it.
That's awesome. So we're going to get now to our special guest, Greg Marchand.
Yeah.
He is our...
Special.
All things safety.
He is all things safety. He's just an amazing guy. He has been in the industry for a long, long time, even though he's, I think, 35, 36 years old. But
Yeah.
I got a chance to really first meet Greg probably 4 years ago, three and a half, 4 years ago. I was
2019.
introduced to him through some people I knew. He was kind of trying to get out maybe a little bit and start to enjoy fishing and hanging out and grandkids and stuff. But he was still incredibly passionate about the business. We really needed his help and support in just making our company better and ready for all the challenges that were coming with CO shutdown, different regulations that are changing all the time. And he's just been a wealth of knowledge. And when I spoke to him, he was just still incredibly passionate about the business and the products and the ability to go out and help people, whether it's for fun, being a weekend warrior or camper, or in huge events and saving lives, but doing it safely.
Absolutely.
So people aren't getting hurt. So we're going to talk to Greg a little bit about that today. And Greg, can you give us a little bit of background of on...
When did you, first of all, what is your experience? Where did you come from? And then tell us about how you kind of made it to us.
Well, Greg Marchand, I live in Waukesha, Wisconsin. So we just had a major wind event just to the west of us for the most part. But it was a pretty big thing. A lot of the schools are still out of power and homes. I think there's 40-some thousand people are still on the second day. So we get events up here too. So my background, I'm an engineer. I've been held many positions through the years. I've been project engineer, design engineer, lab manager, along with director of compliance, director of engineering for multi-billion-dollar corporations. So I've been all over and in this business a long time. Pretty much 43 years in engineering, and the vast majority of it in power generation. Everything from small portables up through megawatt generator sets.
Yeah.
I've been involved with and in engineering them. So I'm quite familiar. A little bit more of my background, and I don't just follow the rules. I pretty much get involved with making them. So I sit on all the specific panels, like the National Electric Code for generators, on code panel for our next editions coming out soon. PGMA, Portable Generator Manufacturer Association, developing the standard.
You were heavily involved with PGMA, right? I mean, you were there for a long time. I think at one time
Yeah, actually, I was there from the beginning. I looked it up. It's been a while. 2006.
Wow.
And when I left my last employer before coming to Firman, I was a technical chair responsible for all the engineers from the all the companies and getting the CO shutdown system in place and gaining ANSI approval through the consensus process and canvas process. I'm sorry. And it's a great thing. And I'm just so happy that we're moving forward with it. And you'll probably want to talk more about that later. But 9 grandkids, loving it.
That is awesome. So on CO shutdown specifically, and we'll kind of probably bump around this a little bit, but I mean, it's become so massively important to the industry. And it's kind of strange. I've been in generators a long time, not 43 years, but probably close to 20 years now. And you know, it would bounce around every few years because something terrible would happen, right, to a family or someone that just didn't know how to use a generator properly. And then it would happen every so often. I think the last 3 years, we've had, with specific storms, we've had more deaths from CO poisoning than we have actually had from the storm itself, because we've gotten so good at kind of being there to take care of folks. The shelters are getting better. They're getting better in the storm response and warning folks, but there's still power issues and folks that don't know how to use it properly or place it improperly. So can you give it just kind of the CO shutdown, where it came from, how it's developed, and kind of where it's at now?
Well, that's a great question. It actually could be very long. It could take well past the limit we've got here. So I'm going to try to give you just a 30,000 foot view.
Okay.
We were concerned also about the consumers using the generators improperly. It's a very, very small percentage. And actually, if you look at the trends of CO deaths due to portable generators, independent of anything else, if you look at the statistics, they continually go down. Right. But one is too many, and during the ice storms, there's a number of them in Texas during the cold weather. And but we came up with a system to use a great technology that's been in place for many years. The CO sensors itself, but we adapted the CO sensors to outdoor power equipment. So, and we implemented a number of things in developing a module specifically, or a system specifically tailored around generators. It's not like your home. So this doesn't replace the need for CO detectors in your home. Number one, remember that. But it reacts very positively towards the operation of a portable generator. So we've got a monitoring system on there. We've actually got 2 types. That's part of the standard. One, an ongoing monitor for a CO level, a given specific level, and then another system that's always looking at peak values. So if CO accumulates quickly around a generator, and through a vast amount of testing and empirical data that was done by multiple companies, major companies, we could pretty much map out exactly when it was being misused, what was going on, what did the CO sensor see, and what could we do to save these lives. So the accumulation, if it accumulates around the generator space, which is the vast majority by far, well over 90-some%, are typically when they're in enclosed spaces. They're in carports, they're in garages, they're in basements, they're in sunrooms, they're in bedrooms, believe it or not. They're in kitchens. People don't really appreciate it. But any of those spaces, it shuts off relatively quickly and will save the lives. I'm unaware, I won't say that I know every piece of information about what's gone on in the years since we've started to implement it, but I read an awful lot of them, because I'm the guy that things get sent to. And I'm unaware of a single case where a CO shutdown system to the PGMA standard has been involved with a fatality.
Yeah, I have not heard of one either.
I've not seen or heard of one. In fact, I'm working with the government trying to get the form out there to show if there is ever a case when they do the investigation is to check this off, and it's been added.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they aren't using the most updated form in all cases, but they're getting there. So that's a great thing.
That is great.
So we've got a system that just hands down way above anything prior. I'm really excited that everybody's embraced it and moving forward because it's a lot less work from the risk side from my standpoint, and it's a great system. People are going to be really happy.
I think we really appreciate the diving into that, because we do get a lot of phone calls from, like, our tech team tells us often that we get calls regarding this, and it's misunderstood that's a safety feature to keep your family safe. That's not something that we put in there to upset you.
Right.
It's.
Well, you hear a couple of things. You hear one. Well, now it costs more, and it does cost a little bit more. But to your point, one death. If you were thinking about it as your wife or your daughter or your son or your mom or dad that just don't know how to properly use a generator, they get caught up, and sometimes it's not even not knowing how to use it properly. It's the nature of an event, right? A storm, a wind, or something comes on you. You're out of power. It's storming. You're nervous. You're scared. And somebody starts this or runs it in the wrong place where it's venting, around the generator and then creating a bad area for the folks in that residence. It's just really, really dangerous. So the cost is not an issue. It's minimal at best, and it's worth saving any and every life that we can save this way. The other thing they talk about, you'll hear people talk about, is nuisance shutdowns, and that was a big worry of mine early on. But we've had, if there are shutdowns, it's to your point, you can talk a little bit about this, it's because they're using it improperly, or it's in the wrong space, it's not in the right environment that we tell them to set the unit up in. And
correct. That's
where should it be set up?
It's very, very, very few. I remember we first implemented it years ago, started to integrate it, and you would hear about somebody calling and says, "Why is it doing this? I'm doing just what I always did in the past." And then you find out that they're running it in an enclosed space, in a garage, with an attached door. Well, I keep this thing closed, or I block that vent off. Yeah. There's always an excuse,
right?
But the generator won't run in those spaces.
And
you have to move it outside.
Exactly.
And all the materials, we've got on product markings that tell you exactly what to do, ventilate the space, you name it. It's really a great system. And and the new system, and the system also has a nice feature that it's running always a self-diagnostic. It always looking to say, am I working? Yeah. And if it is not working for any reason, it will shut itself off.
Yeah, and our tech team is doing a really great job just educating people on that. So working through that frustration, we know it can be frustrating, but we also know that that's saving lives, and that's a really important feature that we're proud to stand behind. So I'm happy we shared that story and kind of gave information about it.
And our marketing team, maybe there's something we can shoot out a link if people are watching. I think we've actually built a video on our website that kind of walks through one, proper use, but also kind of the whole reasoning and understanding of the CO shutdown system, what it's doing, why it's doing it, and that's a pretty good video. We'll continue to put videos up there that kind of educate end users on how and why. Yeah,
we actually do have a post that's going out on all of our social platforms today about CO Alert later this evening. So you'll see, we had it go out a couple weeks ago, but we thought today, talking to Greg, it'd be a great time to send it out again. So please, any questions you have, we love to answer them and make sure that you're understanding how to use these features, and that they're really to protect our families. So
I think one thing to make clear, I've heard it too, the fear of nuisance shutdown, it hasn't grown to fruition. There has been a massive amount of empirical testing, and that's actually real world testing for those who are not familiar with that. And under all kinds of conditions and all types of generator sizes, from the smallest to the largest to the inverters, everything. And the system was developed around that in mind. And the bottom line, if it's shutting off, it's accumulated in a confined space, and it's dangerous, no matter where it's located.
That's right.
Okay. And it's not hazardous whatsoever if it's operated outdoors, at least 20 foot away, point the exhaust away from your occupied space, wherever you're at. It's a great product.
That's right.
And if used properly, it saves a lot of people a lot of problems.
Yeah, we're converting as quickly as we can. We're converting our entire line to all CO shutoff units. So as we get into 2022, and we're also, there's an issue here working through existing inventory that's out in the field and working with your customers as they can move through their product inventories, but we're converting all of our customers, all of our products to CO Shutdown because there has been massive extensive testing, not just by us, but by all the companies that make up portable generator manufacturers of America. And it's conclusive. The nuisance shutdowns, say that like 3 times fast, is non-existent. It really does not happen if you're using the generator properly. Absolutely. It's when you're not using it in the proper space, you're using it too close to a shelter, that's when things are going to happen. And the reality is that's probably saving your life or someone else's life. So it's doing its job.
And I love that that's our focus though. Like at the end of the day, safety first, making sure our customers are safe. Like you're our family just as much as we want to protect our family. So it's important, and I think it's a great initiative that we're transitioning all of our product line into being CO alert. So I think that kind of gets me to my next exciting question for Greg. Can you describe what the hardest compliance problem is that you've faced in your career and kind of how you love working for the Firman team and it allows you to do things to avoid those compliance problems that you face? Do you want me to restate that initial question since I rambled on?
Yeah, I kind of heard thanks for the question, but I kind of heard 2 questions.
There's 2 questions.
One is the Firman family.
Yeah.
And since 2019, when I had an opportunity to go down to Phoenix and talk about working with Firman, it's been absolutely enjoyable. And the reason is I get the chance to use all the 43 years of engineering and all the committees and memberships of developing these standards and employing them where I can think they do the most good. And the group has been overwhelmingly has accepted everything, and that's made so I don't have to worry about endless nauseating meetings about trivial matters that frankly don't make a difference.
Right. So your voice makes
that's the number one thing that's been really great. I think as far as difficulty goes, background in engineering, just to get to this through an engineering degree and into this field, there's a lot of challenges, and then you kind of migrate into different businesses. I've never run into anything that I couldn't do. And I always figured if they had someone better at it, they'd be doing it instead of me. So I haven't found that either. So I love the new challenges. I do a lot of work with Firman now on international stuff. We're talking whether it goes north or south of the border, communication with our other teams overseas. And there's some new areas that I normally wouldn't have been typically involved with. It's just new experiences. I don't know if I'd call them huge challenges. It's just a matter of understanding exactly what it is, where it comes from, what do they need, and typically it isn't that bad.
Yeah, I think you mentioned some really good points, though, that you're heard here, though, too. I really like that. I've noticed that being a part of the Firman team, it's the biggest thing is that everyone here has a voice. Like, it doesn't matter your position, your role. If you just started yesterday or if you've been here since the start of Firman, everyone listens to what everyone has to say, and we all kind of work together to figure out how to make everything come to fruition and grow in the best ways possible. And I think that I can say, at least for me, anytime I work with you, Greg, I'm like a sponge. I just want to take in all that you say and do because you have so much knowledge. But I think it's great that you're not afraid to share it and to go out of what would normally be a comfort zone of a lot of people, and you just do what you think is right, and you work towards always making sure that everyone is safe. I appreciate that. So
my main focus is I don't run the business, and I've been told from the highest authorities on that. I mean, CEOs of multi-billion-dollar companies, and that's perfectly fine. But what I do is I try to advise and back it up with the data to support it, so that the people that are running it, in this case Greg, I'm looking at him right now, can make informed decisions that make sense for us and for the company. So I get that. I don't lose any sleep when what I recommend or what I say isn't necessarily followed to maybe how exactly I would do it. but I've always walked away with anybody I've worked with says, you know, that's really good enough. We really advanced it from where we were.
Right.
And next time we'll have another shot at trying to figure out, is there something that we can do? Yep. But very happy with what we've been working on the last couple of years in migrating all the information we've gotten, the new products, and super excited.
Okay, and we're never done trying to get better, right? So it's
right.
It's figuring out in those baby steps and those little sips how you can continue to get better, make the adjustments necessary to be reactive to the environment around us, so we're doing the right things right, but also to our customers and the end users and doing the right things for them as well.
All the standards have changed. You know, standards change
all the time.
Whether they're mandated or voluntary, they're on a rotating basis for public inputs and things that go through, and you have to, you know, understand where they're coming from. Is there data to support what's going on, and does it make sense? And I'm involved with those kind of decisions. I sit around the code making panel tables with other engineers and authority having jurisdiction, kind of the guys that out there in the public sector that approve things, and negotiating points that make sense and actually address real issues. We're not looking to have a solution, looking for a problem.
That's right.
And so I feel very excited and happy, and I'm still on those groups now through Firman.
Well, and that's what makes everything you do so special, is that you're still participating in all those groups. You've been there for years. You're an absolute expert in all of this. And to Megan's point, how we all have a voice and we get a chance to be heard here. When you speak, it means a lot, Greg, and it means a lot to all of us here. And someone's phone is ringing. It may be mine. But
I turned mine off.
Yeah, I probably should have.
You know what, though? What's the fun in that? I mean...
No, but what I wanted to say was that we've all worked for bigger companies in our past. And we're a growing company for sure. But not only do we get to be heard, but we get to act on things very quickly. And Greg, when you bring stuff to our attention, you know, I think we all listen, our ears open up, the radars go up, and we realize that you bring a wealth of knowledge and experience, and you make us better all the time and safer all the time. And it might not be something that, you know, everyone's going to throw up their hand and say, hey, we've got to do this, but we generally move pretty darn quickly to do the right things.
Absolutely.
And you really point us in the right direction. So just like, we're so grateful for you, all the knowledge you bring to our team, all the expertise that you bring to our team. The one great thing that I would just personally say is that I can go to Greg, and he knows more. He's forgotten more than I know about this industry, but he will get me the information I need right away, which is awesome. I mean, he always has an answer, but then he will follow up with more information that I didn't even ask for, but that you need.
Absolutely.
And that's just amazing. If all of us responded that way to each other when we were looking for help or needed direction, whether it's sales or marketing or tech support, I mean, we're just all better. So Greg, you're phenomenal, and I can't tell you what a blessing it has been for you to be on our team.
Absolutely. With
the passion you bring and the expertise, it's been awesome. So thank you.
Yeah, and I know I know that just to mention, I know we are supposed to end, 11 o'clock on the dot. I just want to finish singing the rest of that song, but it's really inappropriate. So I think that I just wanted to call out a few people, and I want to say thanks for everybody. Obviously, Greg, you're the best. We appreciate all that you do. And Greg, you killed it with your interview. I mean, I think he's a great interviewer. He didn't need anyone sitting up here with him today. He's good. Other than, your fans calling you because they see you on. Your fans are calling because they see you on live. But no, I do want to just call out and say thanks to the people who are tuning in. Harold, we see you here all the time tuning in. I appreciate you and your comments and your support. We have. And I apologize if I say names wrong. Please don't be mad at me. Sylvan from Quebec, Canada. We appreciate you. Yeah, we appreciate you jumping in. Of course, we always appreciate all of our Firman team tuning in. Yeah. We highly encourage you to come watch us and talk with us. And it doesn't matter that you're at work. We want you to be involved. We want you to feel included. That's right? Right? It's important to work, but it's also important to tell us your thoughts. ask us questions you wouldn't normally ask on our live feeds. But Sonia's here. Hey, Sonia, we're really happy that you chimed in. Christy, Chris, everybody's tuning in. So Tarpon Springs, Chris is from.
I love Tarpon Springs.
I've never been there.
I think I took my kids and we swam with manatees there. Yeah.
I feel like it's a place to get to know.
Tarpon
That's
Springs.
my kind of
You
place.
did that? Oh, my son's here, by the way.
Yeah. Gavin in the back. Can we give a shout out to Gavin? We appreciate all he does.
That's the Greek village, isn't it? Tarpon Springs? I think it's the Greek area.
It's the Greek area. That's right.
The sponge divers.
Sponge drivers.
Nice. Yeah, so,
Any questions that popped up?
Yeah, we don't have any questions today, but we just have people jumping in, telling us where they're from and that they're here with us. So we appreciate you.
Yep.
And if there's anything that you want us to do a video on or you want us to talk about, please let us know. Your voices are heard. Your voices are heard too. So we really appreciate it. But anything else you want to cover? Are you doing anything fun for Christmas or what's going on?
No, it's 8 days before Christmas. I wanted to do my 8 favorite generators, but the one I wanted, I think we're out of right now. But that's what. So
that would be fun.
But I think we should go through that each time, kind of pull up a generator and kind of what are some of the cool features, especially now as we get more of the CO product in.
Absolutely.
Pulling some of those down and showcasing and letting people know where it's available.
Yeah, and if you viewers have certain gens and you want us to talk about them and tell you all of the things, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
So please, questions, comments, concerns, tag people who you know who own Firman generators. Have them tell us about their gen and what they want to know. And I mean, you'd be surprised. We got a lot of cool features that you might not know all the things about. So we can make Greg join us again. He loves talking about all things generators. So
hey, the other thing we should do is special thanks to our tech support team.
Oh, absolutely.
Who kick butt all the time. But the last 2 weeks, calls have, when things do happen, the calls go through the roof a little bit. And those guys work overtime just making sure they're taking care of everyone. Maybe next week we can run a little scroll of our tech support team so we can actually show their names and really give a proper thanks to each of them.
For sure. Just knowing that if you call in, you have questions and you're trying to connect with them, if you don't get in touch right away, I mean, you can call, you can chat with us on our web. You can also email, but if you're feeling like you're not getting through, don't feel like we're not listening to you. We're just trying to help everybody in those affected areas get the things that they need to keep their families warm and safe. And
that's right.
And so you can also reach out on social media. Don't just come to us when you're angry and upset, because I do get to talk to all of my favorite people when they're not happy, but I love helping you get your issues resolved, and I don't ever want you to feel like Firman's not here for you, because every one of you have a voice too. So reach out on social, send us a message, leave a comment. Hey, I tried to get through, it was a little busy. Can somebody help me? We'll get someone to call you right away. We have people checking that daily. Shelly's amazing. If you haven't seen Shelly commenting and posting on things, she also loves helping people. So thanks for all you're doing behind the scenes. But that's pretty much where we're at. I know we went kind of over on our time, but I just wanted to make sure that people know that we're heard and that we really don't care about this clock on the wall. We kind of just want to make sure that these videos are making sense and they're so.
If you do call in and you ring into our voicemail, leave a quick voicemail. Leave your name, your contact info. Yeah. We typically get back to people within about 3 to 4 minutes. When the calls are going crazy and super escalated, it can take a little bit longer. But we will follow up. You don't have to keep calling and live on the phone. If you leave us a voicemail, we've got 20 different tech support folks that are going to reach out and call you back. They speak amazing English. They speak Spanish. They speak French. So for our listener in Quebec or watcher in Quebec, we got you covered. But just leave us a message. We will follow up. We're not going to leave you hanging. So our team, our tech support team, is absolutely amazing. And they will get back to you. They'll get your problems resolved. We'll get you up and running, and we'll take care of you. So they're very good.
Absolutely.
So one closing thought from my side, I know we're running out of time, but if I would key on three simple things.
Okay.
Keep the generator outside.
Yep.
Follow the manual. Keep it outside, 20 feet away, preferably. Point the exhaust away, number one. Number two is, if you're going to refuel a generator, don't do it while it's running. Okay.
Hey, how long should they let the generator rest?
Okay, I heard we opened up today a little bit about that. I heard the product shows 2 minutes.
Okay,
and that just didn't get pulled out of thin air. A number of different exhaust systems were analyzed.
Okay.
and 2 minutes took it well into the safe area.
Okay.
As far as, because you don't want to dump gas and have it go inside. Typically, some hot spots internally into the muffler, drawing fuel in, all those kind of things. Just let it cool down.
Okay. That's
Okay.
smart.
And the last thing is electricity. How remote and rare electrocution is with a portable generator. It could happen with your cords. If your cords aren't proper, if they aren't well maintained or something, just like anything, you could get a shock. Most people probably have gotten one from their home outlet at one point in their life, or a light socket. Traditionally, it's not been a hazard that's raised to a level of anything like carbon monoxide or fuel by any means, remote stretch of the imagination. So with those three takeaways, you can have a great time and use it in the outdoors. You can use it for backup power restoration. There's a number of things doing workaround areas. It's a great product, but you gotta use it properly. You don't have a car parked in your garage, door closed, running. I don't care how sophisticated it is today with all of the fuel injection, all of the catalysts, everything. Yeah, it's still a fatality at the end of the day. So
much,
you need
Greg.
to use everything proper. Yeah. And those were the three takeaways. If anybody takes anything away, is just remember those things. The rest are pretty small.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to talk with us and do all things safety. It really meant a lot. And again, just don't forget, guys, you want to know about any of our outages, you can check on our Firman website. We have
Firman Power Outage Tracker.
Yeah.
It's under the support tab, I think.
Absolutely.
If you go onto our website.
And with, weather acting up a little lately, I saw that Mike's weather page jumped in. So make sure you're also keeping up with Mike. He'll keep you in the know on all things weather.
By the way, if you live in the Southeast, next week, there's some systems that are kind of coming together. He was talking about it this morning. He'll cover it Monday and have a lot more, a lot better, more updated info, because with winter, it's tough.
Yes.
Even he's an amazing weather guru, but weather is extremely tough to kind of forecast and understand what might be going on. So he gives you great diagnosis on what's going to be happening, but tune in to Mike's weather page on Monday morning. And if you live anywhere in that Gulf Coast, Southeast area, he's going to probably give you a heads up on some weather that might be heading your way.
So, yeah. Thanks again, guys. We
Thanks,
really
everybody.
Appreciate it. Have a really good holiday.